Jon Jones has responded to the whole arresting situation that happened to him, and there are some glaring things that he stated here. Now, first of all, we gotta say we don't know exactly what happened here. We gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. It's innocent before proven guilty. But for those who don't know what happened in this situation, so Jon Jones got arrested for a misdemeanor domestic battery and a felony tampering with a vehicle charge. The tamper of the vehicle seemed to be him headbutting the police car. The misdemeanor battery charge has to do with him allegedly causing some sort of harm to his fiance. There's a statement or a report by the security guard as well as the officer of seeing his fiance quote unquote leak, and I'm just going to use that term here, and she was distraught, and it seemed to be one of the kids that wanted the police to be called. And if that is true right there, that tells you the severity of this. Now afterward, Jones posted a video with his fiance showing everybody that everything is all good, and now he responded on Twitter, and this is where it gets strange. We're going to be breaking down all of this. He's going to explain the situation, he's going to paint himself as a victim by talking about his past, and then he talks about him getting suspended from the gym from Mike Winklejohn, but two of the other coaches still want to train with him. It's interesting who he thinks and who he doesn't in that situation. I'm just going to say it right here. It looks like Jon Jones takes no accountability. Quote, "I love how people are imagining the worst possible situation in their heads and making it somehow factual. I never hit my fiance and our daughters were woken after our confrontation. My daughters didn't see or hear us arguing." Then he goes and says, "That's really the only thing I care to clarify. Outside of that, looking forward to moving forward without alcohol. It's the first time in my life where I'm actually ready to quit. Glad to have the support of my fiance, family, friends, and fans." Then a good man replied to him, "Actions speak louder than words," where he responded with, "Yep, I understand that. That's why I'm not going to do some big PR stunt, hire a publicist. I'm not going to do anything like that. I know it's real. I know that I'm ready. Time will take care of the rest." And I believe there were some deleted tweets here that some people were able to bring up. He tries to pretty much, I don't know if it's to create an excuse, but explain as to why things are going wrong with him in terms of maybe substance abuse or just drinking too much alcohol and all that stuff. So he plays the victim here and says, "My life wasn't always great, man. Being emmed as a child, losing a parent and sibling to a disease at a young age." It goes on and on, man. I got things I need to deal with. And the last thing was regarding his training camp. Mike Winklejohn had a long talk with Jon Jones on the phone, in which Jon Jones says, "Had a heartbreaking conversation over the phone with one of my longtime coaches last night. Really hurts to lose the support of someone I respect so much. Sincere thank you to the rest of the coaches for staying in the fight with me. Our journey continues." That is all Jon Jones pretty much had to say about this whole situation that happened here. So first of all, regarding his account of what happened that night, number one, wasn't he drunk? How does he actually remember these things? Possibly he did, but it's really hard to be aware of your surroundings when you're drunk. If in fact he was drunk, that's why he's saying that he's given up the alcohol. Number two, I find it very strange that allegedly the kids want the cops involved if all Jones and his fiance did was argue with each other. Unless they're that sensitive that arguing is going to trigger them to want to call the authorities, it's very hard to believe that, in my opinion. And at the same time, he says that his kids didn't even see or hear their argument. Is he saying that the kids didn't want the cops involved and that was just a security guard making things up? If that's true, who called the cops, or who was the one that asked for the cops? According to the security guard, it was one of his daughters that wanted the cops involved. But according to Jones, they didn't hear or see the argument at all. Very interesting. And also, he says he never hit his fiance. Perhaps. But why did the police officer and the security guard say that they saw her leaking? What was that all about? Is everybody else lying? It's possible. Or they're all just saying things and Jones himself is the only one that saw the reality of it while drunk. Now here's the strange thing that I have to question. Why is he saying he's going to give up the alcohol now if he's saying that what happened wasn't so bad? I mean, the way he's explaining it, it seems like they just got in some argument and the fiance probably got a little bit upset. The kids got alarmed by whatever the confrontation was and he just got arrested and that's it. He never hit anybody or anything like that. Why now did he get this epiphany that he has to stop alcohol if it wasn't that bad? I mean, in the past, he's done worse things. Right? He got into a car accident, the other car driven by a pregnant lady. He crashed his own car while under the influence. He was allegedly shooting a gun in the city. I'm pretty sure those are way worse things than just getting into an argument with a fiance. So why did this one create such a life event for him that he's saying, quote unquote, "It's my first time in my life where I'm actually ready to quit alcohol." He says this is the first time he ever even thought of it. And all the other things he's done in the past, none of that told him maybe you should probably stop alcohol. There's no way I'm buying it. He also says he has the support of his fiance, friends, family, and fans. And it's interesting how he said the support of his fiance. Worst case scenario, it alludes to something that Adesanya has mentioned about this, something about Stockholm Syndrome. If that is actually the case, that is pretty severe if you don't know what Stockholm Syndrome is. Not saying this is Jon Jones' case, not saying that he's an abuser and the fiance has fallen in love with the abuser after said abuse. Not saying that at all. That is just one of the worst case scenarios, and I've seen some people bring this up. So pretty much the abuse victim develops positive feelings for the abuser, and as you could probably realize, there's very little anybody can do about the situation if that happens, because a lot of times they will lie about what's happening to them. But here's the thing that Jon Jones did do for sure. He painted himself as the victim. When he mentioned his past and stuff like that, I understand, man. Everybody has a past. Everybody's gone through something in their life. It's very irking when someone tries to paint themselves as a victim after getting into trouble. That's a huge lack of accountability. Because of that, probably nothing is going to change. If you can't take responsibility, you're not going to change. If you think you did nothing wrong, or you create excuses for something you did wrong, then there's nothing you think you need to change about yourself. Everybody's got some sort of past. Everybody does. I do. I know a lot of you guys do. I'm pretty sure Jones does. It doesn't excuse your behavior. If you get in trouble in the street and the cop pulls you over and your explanation was, hey man, can you let me go because I just had a bad past? It doesn't do anything for you. You need to take responsibility for your actions. So what is this victim talk? And when he mentioned his coaches, it shows me yet again that he has taken no accountability. Mike Winkeljohn actually suspended him from the gym. He told Jon Jones you have to stop drinking and fix these things for a certain period of time until you come back to the gym. So at the moment, he's out of the gym. He's not allowed to come into the gym because I feel I had to do that. Ignoring it and expecting different results, as they say, is insanity. Good on Mike Winkeljohn, man. At least somebody is taking accountability for this. Someone is at least taking some sort of responsibility, because it looks like everybody's trying to dodge this situation and not really do anything about it. But here's the thing. Greg Jackson and Brandon Gibson still plan to train with Jon Jones outside of the gym. They just said provided he stays out of trouble. If he stays out of trouble, we'll still train with him. This isn't the first time he got into trouble. What do they mean if he stays out of trouble? He hasn't really stayed out of trouble. Let's just be honest here. If it's because he makes them a lot of money, just say it. Just say it. At least be honest if that's actually the case here. Or they don't want to lose the guy. Perhaps Jackson and Gibson are staying with Jones so Jones doesn't completely leave the gym. So they're going to stay by him somewhat. No matter what the case is, why can't they be more like Winkeljohn? Winkeljohn said, I'm suspending him because he keeps getting himself into trouble. And if we keep looking past it, it's insanity. And what is the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But Jackson and Gibson are doing the same thing again. They still want to train with the guy. I mean, this is crazy. And Jones saying sincere and thank you to the rest of the coaches, the other ones who stayed with me, for staying in the fight. He should be thanking Mike Winkeljohn, not Jackson and Gibson here, because it's Winkeljohn showing Jones there's consequences for your actions. When you do things like this, you will not get trained in this gym. It sounds like he's looking at Mike Winkeljohn as the mean parent who's punishing you because he hates you. That's what it looks like to me here. This looks like the teenager who gets mad at the parents for disciplining them when they do something wrong. That's what it seems like here, because he's thanking the coaches that are with him, that still train with him, but he's not thanking the one who really wants to see him on a good path. He cares the most for Jon Jones out of all these guys. That's what I'm seeing here. It's not Greg Jackson and Gibson who are showing you that they care more because they're staying with you. That's easy to do. What Mike Winkeljohn did is hard to do. He gave up his top guy until he gets on the right track. What Jackson and Gibson have done is shown that there's no consequences when it comes to the gym for your actions. You can do anything you want and we'll still train with you. Man, this just sounds like parenting. It sounds like Jon Jones is the kid and they're the parents. One of the parents wanted to discipline, the other one doesn't. Man, that whole situation is so messed up, man.